Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream with myself, Auret. Nice to see you on here. Welcome back if you were tuning in yesterday to our other live stream. Today, I have a very special episode for you and a special guest. We're going to be talking all about passive income streams, but specifically demystifying launching a course. And so I can't wait for you to meet our guest today. She is such an inspiring woman. And just to give you a little bit of an intro and a background, her name is Lisa Johnson. She is the founder and CEO of Lisa Johnson Coaching, and she's going to tell us all about how in just a few short years, she went from being 30,000, I was going to say dollars, but it's actually pounds, 30,000 pounds in debt to being a multi-millionaire with launching a course. And she's been featured everywhere, like from TEDx, BBC, Fast Company, just to name a few. She's known as the queen of passive income, and she's really helped thousands of entrepreneurs scale their businesses through different one-to-many passive income streams. And we'll talk about what those are today. So I met Lisa at a business networking group, and we instantly connected because I knew I could learn a lot from this woman, and I knew that we could all greatly benefit. She would be a great guest to have in our audience and on our live stream to learn all about building another income stream here. So Lisa, welcome. I'm going to add you to the stage here.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate having you here.
Great to be here.
You have such an inspiring story, Lisa, and I really want others to hear it because I think it's important to see that you really can be anyone when launching a course, when launching a passive income stream. You don't have to be like this guru and know everything about everything. So please do share a little bit about your story.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a crazy story. It's been a wild 7 years, but I grew up normally like everybody else, and I was on what you guys, I think, in the US call welfare. So we call it council housing here. And so I grew up in poverty, and a lot of people do. And so when I grew up, I didn't really have anyone to look at that was making a lot of money. There was no one to inspire me making money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got bullied at school. So I left school at the age of about 16. I didn't do any qualifications or anything like that. And I basically started in a corporate career, office junior, like 35, I'll say dollars, but it was pounds, $35 a week. And I really climbed that corporate ladder as hard as I could. It got to a point where I was doing okay. I was making good money, like 50, 60,000 in a year. And I worked in investment banking. And so I kind of saw, I was there in 2008 during the recession and all of the things that happened there. And I learned a lot. And then I got pregnant while going through a divorce with twins. So, yeah, it was a lot. And
Wow.
I thought, I'll just be a single parent and it'll be fine. I'll go back to work. I went back to work when the twins were 5 months old, and I just never saw them. I just, you know what it's like. I was going out of the house at 6 a.m., coming back at 10 p.m. in that kind of environment in the city. And I just never saw anybody. And so I decided that I was going to have to change my life, and I was going to have to find a way that I could do a job and still make money, but look after my kids, see my kids. And so the first thing I did was I got a job right near my house that was just a really easy 9-to-5 job. And I went back 15 years to becoming an office junior again, like admin assistant, office junior, but so did my wage. So my pay bucket went down to like 20,000. But I saw the kids, and so it was enough for me. And then while I was there, I got a bit bored because I wasn't doing as much responsibility as I had been doing, and decided, well, you know what? I'd like to get out of the debt I'm in. By this point, having gone through a divorce, I was 30,000 pounds in debt. I thought, I'd love to get out of this debt. What could I do? Maybe I could start a business on the side, like a side hustle.
Yeah.
And so I did, but I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anyone that was in business. So I started, and I thought, well, what can I do? And I'll become a wedding planner. That sounds fun. So, I'd seen a lot of J-Lo movies at this point. I was like, surely.
Nice. Yeah.
So I started this wedding planning business and made every mistake that you could possibly make in a new business. At the end of the first year, I sat down, I had a new boyfriend, and he said, let's see if you can leave your 9 to 5. And I had to look, and I was making like £1.13 an hour. It was ridiculous because I'd made so
Wow.
many mistakes. I didn't understand all of the basics, the having a marketing strategy and working out your client avatar and all of the things that we know now.
Yeah.
And that's what made me fail ultimately. And so I come to this kind of crossroads where it was like, you either need to get clued up, and that means you're going to need to learn everything about business, and you're going to have to do it on no money because you haven't got any, or you're going to just have to realize this is how it's going to be. You're always going to be in debt. You're going to live hand to mouth. That you're in generational poverty. Like everyone in my family has always been in poverty. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I thought, I deserve a chance to not have my kids have the same generational poverty as I've done, as my mother has done. I thought, what if I could change things? And so I thought, I'm going to give it a really good go. And I spent about a year just learning everything I could. I went to every free webinar, every challenge I saw online. I got books out of the library. I just read everything about self-development. And within a year, I turned the business round to being really profitable. I was making as much money in that business as I had made in my city job. So around 60, 70,000.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how it started. And then I was in this wedding business a couple of years. I eventually left my 9 to 5 job. And so I was around the kids a little bit more. But if I'm honest about it, if you'd have asked me what I wanted my life to look like, I would have said my perfect life would have been traveling, taking the kids around the world. And instead, what I was doing is every single weekend, I was at a wedding. So I didn't
Yeah.
see my kids on any of the weekends. I was standing up for 48 hours a weekend. And so I started to think this might not be the right long-term path for me. But while I was doing it, people were in the wedding industry firstly, and then other industries asking me, how have you managed to turn this business around? We saw that it wasn't doing very well, and now it's doing well. And I started to just teach them, really, just tell them the things that I had learned from all the books I'd read, the things that I'd put into practice, what had worked and what hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing this for free. And they were coming back to me saying, I've just tripled my revenue because of that thing you taught me. And it turned out I have a bit of a knack for just explaining business in a easier way, without the jargon, just do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
And so then about 7 years ago, I kind of thought, well, surely that's a business. I didn't know about coaches or anything like that at this point. So I was like, I'll just teach people how I did this business. And so I did. And I started Lisa Johnson Strategy, and everything changed. So in the first year, I got so many clients who wanted to work with me one-to-one. I made £220,000 in profit in that first year. That's more money than I've ever seen in my life. It was, to me, it was like ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying it. I was talking to all of these one-to-one clients, but I had a bit of an incident at the end of the first year. My kids had started school. They were 5 and they'd gone to school, and I forgot to pick them up from school because I was so busy. I was working from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night because people were coming to me wanting to give me their money and saying, I want to work with you. I put my prices up like 4 times, and they were still saying, I want to work with you. And I was like, I've only got so much time in my day. I don't have any more time to work with you. I was like, I've hit this income ceiling already in the first year, and there's nothing I can do about it. And so I started to think, what if there is another way of helping all of these people, but not doing it on a one-to-one basis? And then I was listening to a podcast, and someone was talking about passive income, and they were actually arguing over passive income. Like, one was saying it doesn't exist, one was saying it does. And I kind of went down this rabbit hole of what are they talking about, and decided that if it did exist, that was going to be the thing that would change everything for me. And so I put half of the 220,000 that I'd earned into learning in that second year. I learned every passive income stream you can imagine. I went onto cryptocurrency, drop shipping,
Yep.
courses, all of these different things,
Yep.
and started realizing the ones that might work for me, adding some of these passive income streams into my business, refining them, trying to make them better from what I'd learned. So at the end of that first year, 220,000, but 80-hour working weeks, which with twins who are that little was difficult. By the end of year 2, I was working 30 hours a month and I was earning over $1 million
Wow.
profit. And that's
Say that again?
earning
Sorry.
over $1 million in profit in the
That's amazing.
and it kind
Wow.
of showed me like, this is what I need to be teaching. This is the
Yeah.
thing. People need to get a bit more freedom in their life. And then I
Yeah.
started teaching people how to make passive income. And here we are 4 years later from that, 5 years later from that stage. And we've now made over $17 million.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, similar to you, we dabbled in many different income streams as well. Um, and, being stuck in that wheel of like learning and doing, learning and doing and learning and doing. And there's just so much to learn. I
Yeah.
mean, especially when it comes to setting up a passive income stream or launching a course, there's like instructional design, like actually creating the course curriculum. There's where to and how to set it up online and the marketing piece of it. So what you're talking about is really shifting over from working harder and being in this tornado to working smarter. So how do you make that shift and and how do you not get overwhelmed all in the process of learning all these things?
Yeah, I think it starts with a bit of money mindset. My money mindset was
Mhm.
shot. Like I grew up because I grew up in council housing. I grew up thinking that first of all that rich people were bad people. I was bullied
Mhm.
by rich people at school, and that people where I came from couldn't make millions. They couldn't make that kind of money. So I had to
Yeah.
really work on that belief first. And then once I'd worked on that belief, then I was like, there are other people who have made money in this situation.
Yeah.
There are. And then when I started the business and was like, okay, this is overwhelming. There is so much to learn. The only way I can work well is step by step. Like step 1, do this. And so when
Yes.
I started teaching other people passive income, I came up with a 5-step system to make everything easier for everybody. And it's called the cash system. And it's basically the C in the cash system is work out your ideal client. So
Mhm.
people always say, I want a membership or I want a course or, I want this kind of course. And instead of thinking about that, think, who do you want to help? Like
Mhm.
they'll tell you what they want. Instead, do it the other way around. Like, who do you want to help? So work out who that client is. The A in cash is then growing an audience of those people that you just said you wanted to help. Put them somewhere. For me, that was a Facebook group back in the day. It's still got that
Yes.
Facebook group going now. But for some people, they don't like that. It's an email list or Instagram or wherever, LinkedIn. The first S in the cash system is structures and systems. It really used to be that the tech was the thing that people would say, I really want to have a course, but the tech is so hard. Like
Yeah.
people like me, I'm not tech minded. Like I don't think that way. And a lot of people don't like it, but they have made the system so much easier. Like whether you're using Carter, Kajabi, Teachable, there are so many now and you can play around with them until you understand them.
Mhm.
They're not difficult to do. So work out what system you're going to use and the system of how you want to deliver things. Not everybody, I love video. I'm always going to be live on video, but
Mhm.
some people hate that. They want to do audio or they want to do workbooks or something completely different. And that's okay too. So work out how you want to do it. The second S, which is the one we're talking about today, is selling. And, when it comes to courses, that means launching. And, I suppose people would come to me and say, I've done what you said. I've grown an audience of the people I want to help, and I've got this great course, and I'm going to put it out there. And they'll say, I put it out there and it didn't work. So, they don't want this course. And it's never
Mhm.
that. It's always that you haven't launched it properly because launching is a 12-week strategy, at least on its own. It's not
Mhm.
I'll just go and put it on social media twice and see if anyone buys it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that's the bit people were getting wrong. And so teaching that part really helps people. And then the H at the end of the cash system is happy, because passive income isn't passive. Not in the first year. You are working out the curriculum of your course. You are working out how you want to deliver it. You are growing an audience. You are launching. All of those things take time. Passive income becomes passive the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time.
Yeah.
You put something out there with the same marketing. You've already done the PowerPoint presentations. It's all done. But you won't get to that stage unless your clients are happy, which is what the H is for. Because we never used Facebook ads until this year.
Yeah.
We dabbled in it at the end of last year, but this year is when we properly started using Facebook ads. We didn't need to use anything because our clients would sell it for us because they were happy with the results they got. So, I suppose the big thing with courses is make sure you're getting people the results that you're saying that you're going to get them. So those 5 things make everything easier because it's just a step-by-step process. And when it comes to things like the curriculum and how you're going to work out what goes in there, I actually think people overthink it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with a course, people want to know how to get from where they are now, which is A, to where they want to be, which is B. That's a transformation. As long as you're teaching them A to B, it near enough doesn't matter how. People think they have to put so much into courses and they have to put so much fluff in and pad it out. And people don't want that. They just want the results as quickly as you can get them there. And so, I don't have any fancy video software or anything. I literally teach like I'm teaching now. And when I launch, we make 2 million in a week on a course. And it's
That's
because
incredible.
I don't, I do it messy. I'm not worried about the production values. I just want them to know the information they need to make money.
I love that you said that. I do it messy and not overthinking it because it's just, I mean, there's so many points there in the process where you can get lost um and really surrender to like, oh, this is just so overwhelming and challenging. Um you said so many great things, but I just want to pause here and head over to the comments to see if there's any questions. And then I'll continue asking my own questions for you. Um, Felix, hello, how's it going? We have Felix here as well. Um, and Roland, some of our regulars in our live stream. And Jewel is also behind the scenes as well. So actually, Jewel is asking a couple questions. So, what if you've already released the course? Would you suggest to do a relaunch if you haven't done that launching sequence?
If you've
The
released
12
the course
weeks.
and you haven't got the results that you want, then yes, I'd go and do a relaunch, but I'd plan it out a bit further in advance so that you've got time to do everything. I see so many people launch a course and they're exhausted and they're like, launching is exhausting. I never want to launch again. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that way. If you prep everything beforehand, like the launch I'm in right now, we prepped 6 months ago. Like I'm not doing anything.
Mhm.
It's just happening. And that's when launches become easier. So I would do a relaunch. And I would do it a bit further out to give yourself the time to each week do one thing for that launch until it's all ready to go.
Yeah, it's a bit like when you're talking, I'm thinking of like doing an album launch, like when you're launching a piece of music or something, like whether it's an event, you need all of those months ahead of time to really plan everything out. And then when it comes to that, it's like a performance, it's like a dance, like you just executing
Yeah,
and seeing how that
because you've
goes.
done everything. I think
Yeah.
people often say to me, "Oh, I put the launch out, but it didn't work very well." And I say, "What kind of launch did you do?" And they go, "Oh, I kind of did a lazy launch. Like I did a bit on social media." If you do a lazy launch, you're going to get lazy results. Like go all
Yeah.
in. I only do one big launch a year because I go all in with it. I do as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Yeah. And how, so you said it's a 12-week launch. So, um, are you posting, like you have all of your social content planned out beforehand and during those weeks? Or are you doing, what are you doing in that
Let
space?
me
Really overview wise.
I'll map it for you. So like the
Sure.
first 6 weeks are what I call like really basic warm up. So
Hmm.
you're thinking of the basically at the moment, especially in a cost of living crisis or in any kind of economic situation like we're in the world at the moment, the people only buy a solution to a problem. They're not going to buy anything that's a nice to have. So you need to work out what your solution is and what's the problem. Now, when you work out that problem, you talk about the problem for a few weeks. You get people used to you talking about that problem. I'm not saying hit the pain points, because I really don't like that terminology and like trying to make people feel bad to buy a course. It's not in integrity with me. I feel like just talking that you have a solution to the problem and that problem exists and that it's okay because it's solvable. Then once you get to like weeks 7 and 8, you'll spend it like inviting people to some kind of launch event. I love a challenge, but some people do summits. Some people do festivals and all these different things that we do now online. So let's say we're doing a challenge. I would spend 2 weeks just inviting people to the challenge and not thinking about anything else that came before or after, just really concentrating on that bit. And then you'll get on to week 8, 9. And in those kind of weeks, you're doing the challenge. So all you're thinking about, doesn't matter how many people you got or you didn't get enough people into the challenge, you're going to give that challenge your all. You're going to make sure those people absolutely love what you're giving them for free, because then your conversion rate is going to be higher. So you do the challenge. And then on the next week, I do a masterclass. And on that masterclass, I will kind of wrap up the challenge and I will give them even more value. And that's when I will sell the program and the cart will open, and then we'll have 7 days of cart open. And that's kind of how all of my launches work, with different launch events, but in that kind of way. And so I need to prep beforehand all the things that go into that, whether it's, what's the challenge going to be about? What's the masterclass? Let's write the masterclass. The emails, you're going to send an email every day that cart is open. All of those kind of things are the prep you can do beforehand, so that when it gets to the actual launch, you're just watching it happen.
That's interesting, because a lot of people, they just do one webinar or a live event, or they'll do a few videos on the YouTube channel and use that to promote the course. But this is really like a long drawn out event. Is that to kind of to put the same message out over and over again?
It's partly that. At the moment, the way that algorithms are working, people see you about 1 in every 20 things that you post. So how we used to do things with just a few things just isn't going to work in 2024. It did in 2020, but it just won't now. So I think half of it is just making sure that people will see it wherever they are, and see it more than once, because we know that people need to see things more than once to buy from you. But the whole thing for me is that I really believe that people buy from people they like and that they like to listen to. And if that's true, then you need to make sure that you're taking them on a journey where they can see if they like you. So by doing things like a 4-day challenge and then a masterclass, they're kind of binge watching your content. They're kind of binge watching you. And so they will know if your style is right for them. If, I've got quite an abrupt style of teaching. I really don't do fluff. So it's like, just do this, this, and this. Some people love that. Not everybody does. And so they can get to know if your style of teaching is going to be good for them. They can get to know if they resonate with you as a person, whether your values align. And I think the more you can show of that, the more likely someone will buy.
Yeah, 100%. Because people gravitate to different personalities, right? And some people like to learn from this person versus that person, even though they're talking about the same thing. Totally get that. Yeah. We have a question here from Roland. What would you do if you wanted to create a course on a topic that is saturated? Also, what if you have no content whatsoever on that topic?
Okay, to the first question, there's no such thing as saturation. So does anyone ever go, oh, I really wanted to become a hairdresser, but there are already hairdressers in the world? Or, they don't do that. I really want to open an Indian restaurant, but there are already some. For some reason online, we think that there can only be so many of something, and it just isn't the case. The cream will rise to the top. If you're going to do it and you're going to do it well, you will rise to the top and people will buy from you because they like you. It doesn't matter how many other things there are out there. I would be a lot more worried if you said, what if you wanted to create a course, but there isn't one out there on this topic yet? That would worry me more, because there's a reason for that. So don't worry about the saturation. Make sure you put your own spin on it with your own system, your own way of doing things. When I started teaching passive income, boy, was the internet saturated with that. Like really saturated.
Yeah.
Taught it in a different way that people kind of understood, rather than the the way it was being taught at the time. Now, if you don't have content on the topic, you're going to create the content as you go along. So I do not believe in creating a course and then selling it. And some people are scared of this, but I massively believe in selling the course, doing it live the first time, and creating it as you go along. Because there's no better impetus to create something than lots of people have paid you a lot of money for it. But also I've seen people spend 6 months doing these really elaborate courses and videos, and then their audience don't want to buy the thing that they've put out there. So it's better to do it as you go along. And then you can record it as you're doing it live the first time and then put it out there. Passive.
I've heard that too, because you're learning directly. Like it's feedback, right? From the
Yeah.
people that are taking your course, and you can improve and make it better for the next round.
And call it a beta. If you
Yeah.
call it a beta, put the price at half of the price you're going to charge, so that if you are learning from them or something doesn't go quite right the first time, it's a beta. That's expected. And so it's okay. But yeah, don't worry about not having everything that you need. But also it depends what you're creating. When it comes to passive income, if it's courses, yes, you're going to need like 6 to 8 modules, and you're going to write them as you go along. If it's a membership, you don't need to create anything. So when I started my membership, there was absolutely nothing in there. People got a founder's price. I brought people in, and it was, I didn't need to know anything. I was the curator of something that became very passive. I now have about 800 people in my membership, and I'm only in there once a week for 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow. But did you, so you learned from your audience in terms of what they wanted, and then you would create the content for that membership on a monthly
Yeah, well,
basis,
I
I guess.
didn't create it at all. I brought in people who
Oh, okay, they
already
would
had
create it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very smart. What if you have zero experience creating a course?
Everybody starts with zero experience creating a course. Everybody. So, when you're talking about creating a course, I think, again, people overthink it. They think that you're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to map out all of these things. What I'd love you to do, if you were thinking of putting a course out there, is thinking, okay, so let's say I was doing it with passive income. I'd be going, okay, my clients want to make passive income. Where they are now is they don't even have the idea of what they want to have a passive income stream on. What steps do we need to go through? Well, they need to work out their big idea. They need to learn how to grow an audience. They need to know how to have a funnel. They need to work out how to launch well and how to actually create their content for their course. And I would sit down and I would brainstorm this on a piece of paper and then just put them into modules. Module 1, your big idea. Module 2, how to grow an audience. You know the information. You already have it in your head. And this is the best thing about courses and memberships as a passive income stream. You're just making money from what's already in your head. And don't think that this needs to be a business thing. 50% of the people who work with me have courses out there and they're nothing to do with business. They have businesses sometimes, but not all of them do. They are things like, how to play the piano, how to date, how to do Caribbean cooking, how to potty train twins. Like, these are life experience things, because people want to know things that your knowledge isn't common knowledge. You think it is. You think everyone knows what you know, but they actually don't. And so people will pay for the step-by-step information that they need. So when you're creating a course, don't overthink it. Say, what would I like to know? If I was doing this, what would I want to know? And just give the information in a straightforward manner. That's all the course is.
You shared a great definition of what an expert is with me before we had this live stream. Can you share it for
Yeah,
those listening?
the definition of an expert is the person that knows the most about a particular subject in an average room, not on the internet or in the
Yeah.
world or in your town, in an average room. Like, all of us are sitting here going, well, I know more than that person about this subject. And even if you don't, I had a client who made a bet with his friend that he could create a course, a passive income stream on something he knew nothing about within 24 hours and make £10,000 from it. So he took this bet and he decided he's just going to write a course on ferrets, how to look after ferrets.
Nice.
He didn't own
I
a
love
ferret. He'd
parrots.
never owned a ferret. He had no idea about ferrets. And he literally studied, got all the information from all the different places on the internet, put his spin on it, and put a course out there about how to look after ferrets, because people will buy things to save time. They don't want to look at those 20, 30
Yeah.
websites. They want it all in a step-by-step way. And so he
Yeah.
did that and he made 10,000. So now I don't even believe you have to really know your subject that much. You just have to have a passion to deliver it.
That's incredible. Yeah, exactly. You just have to have a passion, and people can feel that energy off of you when they're learning from you, and I mean that's all that matters. That energy transitions over to whoever's learning from you.
Yeah.
Felix is asking, which three traffic channels are bringing in the most visitors and customers for you?
So I use Facebook mostly and a little bit Instagram. Everything
Mhm.
else is just copied and pasted from those two places, and so doesn't bring in the traffic that it should. So they're the two places. Now, I've started using affiliate marketing. That works well. So that can bring me in new places, but traffic channels, really, it's just Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, I have a funnel and I do things to get people on my email list. So I
Mhm.
might do, speaking on a stage or being on people's podcasts and all of those kind of things. That gets people on my list. And it's generally my email list, building that audience that has enabled me to make the money I have. And if I look at like the graph of my growth in millions and my email list, there is a very easy correlation there. The bigger the
Mm.
email list, the more money I make.
And so, outside of that launch period, the 12-week launch period, are you are is that what you're focusing on, like growing your email list and doing these speaking gigs and or sending traffic to a like an opt-in landing page?
Yeah, I believe 80%. If you have an online business, I believe that 80% of what you should be doing is just getting people onto your email list in whichever ways you like to do it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people spend so much time creating offers and thinking about what they'd like to do, but there's no one to buy it from. The only thing you need to sell anything is an audience, an
Yeah.
email list of people. That's it. So growing that audience in different ways, thinking the whole time the only thing you're going to do is give your freebie at the end of everything you do so that they can come onto your email list is the
Yeah.
way to go. And then you can do other, we launch once a year, but we launch some other things like the membership and smaller offers.
Yeah.
And those things kind of keep us going. But a lot of the offers we launch are to get people onto our email list ready for this, for my biggest 1 to 1 million.
Mm. What is your take on releasing your course on sites that already have traffic, like Udemy, Skillshare, that kind of thing, versus doing it on your own
Yeah.
platform?
I don't love it. They take too much of a percentage. And I think you should always try and own your IP. So it
Mhm.
doesn't take long to grow an audience. People are so worried about growing an audience. They spend so much time worrying about it that in the time they're worried about it, they could have grown their audience. Like it generally takes between 3 and 6 months to grow an audience that's ready to buy. So it's not like a
Mhm.
long thing. Sometimes it can take up to a year if you have a certain niche that's a bit more secular, but it doesn't take very long to do if you know what you're doing. And it is literally just a step-by-step process. It's just a way of doing it.
So what would be your top, let's say, 3 tips for growing an audience that's ready to buy?
Yeah, I love that. I think the first thing I would do is I would think, what can I give these people for free that they would ordinarily buy? So, for instance, in January, we wanted to grow our email list significantly. So, we put out a social media content calendar that we were going to sell for £49. And instead, we put it out for free for a month and then put it for sale. They knew it was going to be for sale. So, they all wanted
Mm.
it for free. We got
Mhm.
4,000 people on our list very quickly doing that. So, just thinking rather than giving a top 10 tips kind of freebie, like what do people actually want? What would they pay for? Give them that and they'll come onto your list. So that's the first thing I'd do. The second thing I would do is make sure that list, when you have it, is nurtured. I've seen a lot of people say, well, I'll just spend Facebook ads. I'll grow a list that way, be easy,
Yeah.
which is all very well and good, but then they just sit there and you have
Yeah.
to nurture them because no one wants to be that person at the bar that someone just comes into the bar and says to them, hey, come home with me, and you've never spoken to them. Don't be that guy. Like, you want to like win them a bit. You want to chat to them over a few weeks. You want them to get to
Yeah.
know you, and then you might ask them back with you. Like,
Yeah.
be that person instead. And so I think that's the same with that email list. We've got to be that person that is not just emailing them when we're selling something. We're
Mhm.
making sure that they can get to know us, remembering that people buy from people that they like. So you're going to have to get to know them. They need to get to know you. So always nurture your audience. We send like 3 emails a week to our audience when we're not
Wow.
selling. And then I guess the third tip would just be to make sure they're ready to buy, co-create the thing that you are going to sell to them with your audience. So
Mm.
ask them what they need, what they want to buy. Then you can create the exact thing they've asked for, and then they're much more likely to buy it.
Yeah. Amazing. That's perfect. Thanks for sharing that. We'll go back to the comments here. Um, oh, nice. Christine. Christine already signed up for the challenge. Sorry, wrong comment. Just got registered for the free challenge. It's amazing, Christine. I'm so excited for you. I'll be in there as well. We'll talk a little bit about the challenge in a few minutes here. But she says, I completely agree with owning your IP, not putting it all at the risk in case the platform kicks you out, which we've seen happens so often, so
Oh,
many times. Um, so, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Christine. Um, do you still make core sales even after the launch?
we don't allow it. I am really big on integrity. So
Mhm.
it's been my biggest value since I started out in this online world, when I saw so many people who were just, scarcity, fake urgency, all of the things that we've seen out there. And so I decided really early on to put morals over money, always. And so if I say that cart closes on a day, it's closing on that day.
That's
And if
it.
people are then like wanting to come in, they can't. Like, they knew, and the cart closes on that day. Because I've seen too many people do that thing where they're like, oh, now it's open again for 2 days because of some random reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to do that. So we don't make sales of the course, but we have other things that people can buy that are evergreen if they want to, until we open the course again. And lots of people come into our challenge and they're not ready to buy the course, or they miss the course deadline, but because of the stuff they learn from the challenge, they go and make a bit of money, and then they come in the next year. So
Mm.
it's a win-win situation.
How much of your time do you, or maybe you have team members who do this, but I know also people get overwhelmed with, trying to figure out the stats of things. Like, let's say you were talking about nurturing and building an email list. Um, you can get really nitpicky about, like, oh, whether people open this email and improving the subject lines and click rates and stuff. Do you do
No.
that? No?
No, like, I get that they might be important, these metrics,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, open rate, yeah, I wanna know if the open rate's good. I
Yeah.
don't care at all about the unsubscribe rate.
Yeah.
Like, if people are unsubscribing, it doesn't matter really at the end of the day. They weren't gonna buy from you anyway if they're unsubscribing. You only want
Yeah.
people on your email list that wanna be there. Like, it's much more fun to be talking to people that want to be there. So, yeah,
Totally.
that never bothers me, and I'm a big believer in, we're businesses, we're supposed to sell. No one goes into the supermarket and goes, I'm so annoyed that they're selling things again today. Like, we're
Yeah.
businesses, we sell. So we can sell every day. And it's okay to do that. And if people don't want to hear from you, that's okay. They'll unsubscribe, and that's fine. There's enough people out there.
Amazing. Do you feel, this was a question earlier here, but it kind of relates to what I wanted to ask. Do you think that there are certain niches that people should go and, research and what makes the most money kind of thing? Or is it you can create a course on anything, whatever it is that your knowledge you're passionate about, and release it?
Well, one of the words you used there is important, and that was passion. I believe that profit follows passion.
Hmm.
And so trying to do something that you actually love. And I've seen this happen. People often used to say to me, I think you can only make money from courses if you're teaching people how to make money.
Mm.
And my two biggest success stories, who have made, one's made 5 million now and one's made 3 million, have nothing to do with money. One helps people who have been in narcissistic relationships and has
Oh,
courses on that. And another one has courses on, all different things, but she's got, her biggest thing is a membership for people that like the theatre. So she came to
oh,
me and she was like, I really want a membership, but I don't want it on my business. And I was like, okay, well, what do you like? What's your passion? She's like, well, I love the theatre. She was actually in one of the Harry Potter movies. She was a very small part in it. And
cool.
okay, if you love the theatre, there are other people that love the theatre. With memberships, people want to be around people that like the same things as them. So start a theatre membership. So she started this theatre membership and it was like £10 a month. And they would discuss like, what's the best seats in this theatre? And, all of those theatre-y things that I don't know about. And then they were doing that and it was going quite well. And then COVID happened and we were worried because all the theatre closed. But it didn't make any difference. And she's now made 4 million just from that theatre membership since starting it in
Wow.
2020. Yes.
Amazing. Were they just met monthly just to discuss things? What did she include in that?
No, it was a Facebook group where people
Oh,
could talk about different things. Every now and again, she'd interview a West End or Broadway star. And then she realized that she could actually buy tickets in bulk and sell them. And so the membership just grew. And, that really was a membership on anything. And it just kind of shows that you don't have to be doing things that just make people money. That's not all that
yeah.
people are interested in. There's so many other things that you can do. I have somebody that does baby sleep. Like she
How
wanted
to
to,
help a baby go to sleep, you mean?
she was a nanny before and she was like, I can help kids go to sleep. And I was like, well, teach people that. Loads of people want to know that. And she's made, I think, 300,000 now from that course.
Mm. That's incredible. Yeah, because I mean, there's lots of things about how to make money and making money in different ways, but it's really these little things about how to live life, how, the life university that isn't that widely shared out there. And so it's really an opportunity to dive into those things. So that's very interesting. I never thought about it that way. If someone buys during a launch, are they still buying other things in the next 1 to 2 years?
Yeah. So most people, we know in our world that most people that come in and buy either during my membership launch or from my main biggest launch, which is only, like the most that my small courses are £2,000. So it's not like a huge amount, but they will go on to buy other things with us. And our kind
Mhm.
of average rate is 14,000. So people enjoy
Okay.
it. They want to get to the next level. They want to do more things. So
Yeah, they
yeah.
become a repeat customer essentially and
Yeah,
buy other things because they're the H. They become happy and they had such a great experience with
exactly.
you.
I would
Yeah.
say not usually after 1 year, but definitely after 2.
Okay. Okay. And so can you tell us a little bit about what that challenge is? I've been talking about it here and there. I don't know if some of you have seen the emails and on socials, but um, this is a 4-day challenge that you're running called Recurring to
It's
Revenue,
waste
Race to
to
Revenue,
recurring
Race to
revenue.
Recurring Revenue. Yeah, a lot of R's in there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's been running now for 5 years. We've had 50,000 people go through it. It's crazy. It's the most popular thing I do. And we have people come and do this challenge. It's free. We decided to keep it free. I've been told lots of times it shouldn't be because people make money from it, but I don't care. I think that integrity wise, if I can give something back to those people that can't afford to come and do courses with me, why not do it?
Yeah.
So it's 4 days. And what we go through is literally that cash system that I just talked to you about. So we're going to work out like what your big idea for passive income is, because it might not be your business. Then we're going to work out how you're going to grow an audience, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what your funnel is going to look like. Then we're going to talk about launching, like how to launch really, really well, and what you like individually, what your launch would be like. And we're also going to talk about like the content of the course that you're going
Mhm.
to do, or membership, if that's something that you want to do. And we go through those things in 4 days so that I literally tell you how to make passive income. I'm not one of those people that gives the what and the how and not the why. Like, I'd rather you just knew how
Mm.
to do it. It doesn't stop people coming to work with me. They still want the step by step, the accountability, the hand holding. But I
Yeah.
tell you exactly what to do so that you can go away and do it. And I've done it so many times now and I love it. The ideas that come out from other people in that challenge are brilliant because it gives everybody else ideas of what they could do and that they didn't realize they could make money from that. And we have a lot of the people, we have probably 50 or 60 this time, people come into the challenge that have already made a lot of money from like my courses, one to many, to tell people what they did, because that then spurs other people on to kind of go, okay, if they did it, I can do this. Let's work out what my idea is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good fun week, and we have some amazing prizes to win. I really believe in rewarding people for action. So we have like Chanel, Dior, Marbury, all sorts of prizes for people that do it.
That is so cool. Yeah, I've been witness to this, guys. She's a master at doing these really cool giveaways and prizes, and it's just fun. She makes it fun.
It'd be fun.
Which
Business should be fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we like to do here too, you know. Don't take us like yourself and life too seriously. You really got to just live it up and have fun with it. So this is a free 4-day challenge that you guys can register for if you're interested in joining the party and going through this with Lisa. I'll be in there as well. The link is in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And I think we're posting it. Jules helping to post it in the comments on Facebook if you're watching from there. I love that you said that like one of the first things is figuring out the topic for what it is that your passive income stream or your course or membership is going to be about, and it might not be about business or might not be related to your business. Is there certain criteria that you walk through within that challenge that determines what would be a good topic?
Kind of. Most people
Okay.
come in and they don't know even what they would have a passive income stream on. We
Yeah.
have some people that have been in business a long time that just assume that they're going to have it about the thing that they teach. And actually, that might be the right thing to do. But I like people to really go into their past and have a think about the things that they've learned along the way so far, because some of the
Yeah.
best ideas aren't the usual ones like, well, I teach Instagram, so I'm going to have a course on Instagram. Yes, that's good because it means you don't have to grow an audience. You've probably already got one. And so you skip a bit, which is good. But sometimes it could be something that you're so passionate about that you never thought you could actually create a course on. Like I had somebody create a course on getting children into photography because that's what he loved. He loved seeing the world from a child's eyes. And he did that and he made so much money from it. I had another person that had one on hula hooping because she liked hula hooping and she was
That's
teaching
awesome.
people that. And she did really well. Like there are so many things that you can do that are nothing to do with business that I don't mind if you do go with the business idea. Sometimes that
Yeah.
is the best thing to do. But I want you to think about all the other things that you know as well, because they can be really good passive income streams. People just want to save time and they just want to get the knowledge from someone that has been there that they can trust.
Yeah, well, I love it. I'm really excited for this challenge. And I want to invite you to, any last advice or any last comments or message that you want to share with the audience before we wrap up.
I think just one thing, and that's to just start. Like you're going to get things
Mhm.
wrong. You're going to do things messy. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail at things. The quicker you start doing those things, the quicker you succeed at them. I don't know anybody that hasn't failed first. So let's get all of that out of the way so that we can get to the succeeding bit.
100%. Thank you so much for your time, Lisa. I saw some comments as well here, Christine, and a few other people as well saying thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And guys, sign up for the free 4-day challenge. Just come and have fun. There's no obligation, there's no nothing. Like Lisa said, she just gives it all away and tells you exactly step by step how to walk through this process of setting up your passive income stream, course membership, whatever that looks like. You're really going to gain more clarity after these 4 days or within these 4 days, and might win some fun prizes too. So,
Never know.
yeah, link is in the description, guys. Lisa, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate you and hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.